You on the discussion segment of Good Morning Anambra this lovely day, the 24th day of May 2025. And like we all know in Nigeria, there's nothing that is strange to the topic that we're about to bring to your fore this morning. That's talking about the Rivers State Embroglio, talking about state of emergency or political manipulation. However you choose to see it, we have a guest in the studio that will be telling us exactly what he feels it's actually happening in Rivers State. My name is Ajuluchuku Okabwe.
My name is Obina Ikechu. Welcome to the second segment, second part of the discussion segment
of the Good Morning Anambra show.
And our guest this morning is none other than Ifeanyi Ogunoibunam, a public affairs analyst. Well, good morning, Ifeanyi. Glad to have you here this morning.
It's a pleasure being here.
It's always a pleasure having you around. Quickly, let's say what we're talking. A whole lot of people have been talking about the state of emergency declaration by Mr. President. That's about 5 days ago, talking about what's happening in River State between the godfather and his godson, talking about Wike and Fubara. And then in all, there was not even a quota on iota of even the presidents calling Wike to order. And then people are beginning to wonder, without Wike's involvement, would Fubara have any need for River State to seem ungovernable? But that's the question that we want to bring to the knowledge and to probably get more insight into what we discussed this morning. State of emergency, was it actually necessary? Or was it a political manipulation?
The situation in River State can best be described with just these two parables, or these two scenarios. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Then you come down. How does power corrupt? If Mr. Wike is not a minister, will he have the capacity to do what he's doing? The simple answer is no. You come down again. The essence of democracy is to build strong institutions and not strong individuals. But in this case, there is a demigod, one Nyesom Wike, a strong individual, against a strong institution. Then you come down to the quagmire we have, the constitutional quagmire. What is this quagmire? At what point should Mr. President declare state of emergency? That's the first question. And then in that state of emergency, do Mr. President have power, capacity, and right to remove democratic institution? These two questions are begging for answer. We've seen a situation during Obasanjo time where he declared state of emergency and as well removed the democratic institution. Well, we studied that. The legal team or the lawyers, this question goes to you people. Because I was expecting that by now, there should be series of issues going on in the court, seeking interpretation. A typical example is in US, where USID was closed by executive order. And some persons went to court and the court said, no, executive order cannot supersede the act of parliament. And acts of parliament are also considered as constitution or quasi-constitution. Now, Mr. President has right to a reasonable extent to declare state of emergency. But upon what premise? What shall happen or is deemed to have happened before the state of emergency is declared? It's not specified. Just like what we have, each state have a minister, full stop. Whether the minister is a madman or insane human being, the state should have a minister. What is the criteria of them who ought to be ministers? Not defined. So we have these quagmires. So when a pharaoh that doesn't know Joseph comes in, he picks whoever he wants. There should be criteria for you to attain any position. There must be criteria, not just educational qualification. Even in the case of ministers, there's no educational qualification. Each state shall have a minister.
So would that be a default setting in the constitution?
It's a default setting.
Yeah, the default setting is
yes, it's now where we are.
So now the president's decision or action can't be said to be wrong because the constitution, which is what he swore to uphold on assumption of office, didn't actually state.
I agree to a level, and I disagree to a level, because what are the things what are the situations that will warrant? It needs to be defined. It needs to be defined. What and what shall happen? In Igbo land, they say tortoise made a parable. They say, if things that do happen before happen, don't invite me. If things that has never happened before, when it happened, please kindly let me know. What shall happen? Now, during Jonathan regime, we have a president who declared state of emergency but never removed the democratic institutions. Now, democratic institutions are products of the law. They are products of the law. Should they be removed in the state of emergency or should they not be removed? Do Mr. President have the right to remove democratic institutions? These are the questions. He has right to declare state of emergency. Yes. But does he have right to remove democratic institutions which are act of parliament and constitutional? That is the quagmire. That is the quagmire. And when these are not defined, then we are where we are. It ought to be defined that you can declare state of emergency but not remove democratic institutions. Now, the second question is, the fund that will be used to run River State for these 6 months, is it constitutionally and legally disbursed? Now, is the constitution of River State, the budget of River State, is it going to be run by a sole administrator who is alien to constitution? Because a sole administrator is alien to our constitution. So these are the quagmires. These are questions begging for answer.
While the questions are begging for answer, Mr. Ifeanyi, then the legislative arm of the government seem to have legitimized the president's action by the voice votes that they had there during their plenary.
No, there are some things that needs to be cleared. They did a voice vote approving the state of emergency.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. Which to a reasonable extent also requires some questionings.
Yeah.
Let that be where it is. Now, one would have expected the National Assembly to also know they are act of parliament. And the democratic institution in River State is also an act of parliament. I have seen situations where if issues arise, the National Assembly will wade in. And this state of emergency, as far as I'm concerned, or to the extent I understand, is a presumptive state of emergency. When it happened in Adamawa, when Mr. Governor was impeached, the deputy was impeached, and then the speaker wanted to take over. It was at that point that the president then said, no, state of emergency, let's know what's happening. But in this River State issue, upon what premise was the state of emergency declared? Upon what premise? We've seen a situation where Zamfara, 75% of the local government in Zamfara was under siege. There was no state of emergency. In Borno State, upon all the wars
upon the premise that the governor didn't adhere to the Supreme Court ruling.
The Supreme Court ruling, the Supreme Court ruling removed the governor. And did the governor not comply by first drawing down the local government chairman he elected? He brought them down.
That wasn't the only thing that was contained in that.
No. See, first, was he obeying the Supreme Court ruling?
Not in totality.
But has he started a process? That's the question. He started a process.
Yeah, but he didn't see to a conclusive conclusion.
Right. And that what is the time duration? Did the Supreme Court say, get this done within 7 days, get this done within 2 days? There was no time frame given to him. And he has started obeying. The truth is, he has started obeying. Why not wait for him to finish the obedience or the disobedience? It's presumptive.
All right. Let's look at the constitutional provision for the state of emergency. Talking about section 305 sub 3. Right. There we are seeing the presidency shall have the power to issue a proclamation of a state of emergency. Only one, that's section subsection 3A, says when the federation is at war, when the federation is in imminent danger of invasion or involvement in the state of war, when there is actual breakdown of public order and public safety in the federation or any part thereof to such extent as to require extraordinary measures to restore peace and security, when there is a clear and present danger of an actual breakdown of public order and public safety in the federation or any part thereof requiring extraordinary measures to avert danger, and there is an occurrence of imminent danger or the occurrence of any disaster or natural calamity affecting the community or a section of the community in the federation, when there is any public danger which clearly constitutes a threat to the existence of the federation, or the president receives a request to do so in accordance with the provisions of subsection 4 of this section. Of course, in subsection 4, we are seeing the governor of a state may, with the sanction of a resolution supported by 2/3 of the majority of State House of Assembly, request the president to issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in the state when there is existence within the state any of the situations specified in section subsection 3C, D, and E of this section, and such situation does not extend beyond boundaries of the state. That's a lot, but don't you think the presidency actually acted within the scope?
You read it. Just tell me the particular one he actually quoted, inciting or in this proclamation of the state of emergency.
Subsection F, 3F says, when there is any public danger which clearly constitutes a threat to the existence of the federation.
So I'm coming, sir. Let's take it one by one.
I want us to actually go through all of them at once.
Okay.
And, there were talks about bombing pipelines in River State. There were talks about, one or two things. So probably the federal government said, oh, these things are actually happening. We need to wait.
Okay, now let me ask. Do we have intelligence agencies?
Of course we have.
Do we have the security agencies?
So probably it was due to the report of
so
intelligence
the only,
agencies.
I'm coming, sir. Only hearsay or thought that there should be danger. What have the security agencies put up fights and the fight became or submerged them? As far as I'm concerned, these are still presumptions. You thought, you are thinking, okay, there may be war. And we also have been in this country when a whole state, 75% of the local government in a whole state was under siege. We did declare state of emergency. That's what happened in Borno and Zamfara states.
There may have been military interventions in some of these.
So why didn't we have military intervention in River State first before the state of emergency? That's the issue.
That's why they have a military.
Those are the questions. We must state clearly in unambiguous terms at what point should, because what you are saying here is still giving Mr. President the right to think. If we have a mad Mr. President, because the Constitution of Nigeria did not permit us to even check the mental strength and capacity of anybody who is going to be in a public position. So when we have a president who will sleep and wake up under his dream or his thought or his thinking, and he is either ill-advised or properly advised to declare state of emergency, he goes ahead to declare it. Now, sir, till now we are talking. Zamfara State, why have we not declared state of emergency? The war ongoing in Borno for the past 10 years, why have we not declared state of emergency? Niger State and the volume of crime going on there, when we have kidnapping of students, a whole school will be marched into the bush. Why have we not? Is intent. What is the intent in River State? What is the drag about the river? What is the problem of the South? What have the South done? That all the time a sledgehammer will be used to kill ants. These are questions. And declaring state of emergency, does it also empower Mr. President to remove democratically elected institutions?
So this brings us back to the issue that if it's not a state of emergency as rightfully done by Mr. President, could it be a case of political manipulation, having 2027 in mind, talking about the huge resources of River State in funding elections? No doubt River State, when it has to do with funding election, River State is like the
cash cow.
The cash cow, where the money comes out to fund elections. And then the population too, because that's the fourth electoral vote after you have your Lagos, Kano, and Oyo State. The next in line is River State. So could it be just manipulation for 2027 so that the APC wants to now have that in the bag?
If you can give a dog a bad name in order to hang it. Whatever baptismal name this situation is called is acceptable. Everybody has his line of thoughts. Yes, some will say, Rivers is open. The fight is the purse and the population. Because there's no reasonable sane person. Leaders of thoughts in River State were never even called to, come, I heard this, so please let it not happen. What has the federal government done? What have they put on ground, even when we see the imminent danger? So that everybody, like Oshomole will say, I mark and earmark. How did we earmark and earmark the incidences in River State before the declaration of state of emergency? Hearsay. When the president thought there is. But we have a situation in the Borno State. We have a situation in Zamfara State. And state of emergencies were not declared. And above all, it must be clearly stated in our constitution whether Mr. President has right to overrule the constitution. And overruling the constitution means democratically elected institutions are products of the constitution. Now, when it is overruled by Mr. President, is it right or wrong? Otherwise, one day, a president will come and remove 60% of the state governors who may not be loyal to him and institute state of emergency.
The presidency may be saying that, we are actually not overruling the constitution, subject to the fact that they've said, this state of emergency will happen for probably just 6 months. Then probably after the 6 months. So
removing elected governor for 2 hours is a breach.
And then looking at the situation in the River State, some pointing fingers at Nyesom Wike. So Nyesom Wike has not come out to say, he's actually had any influence to the situation at the moment and other, political style. But this is not the first time we've seen state of emergencies, imposed on states because of probably just political difference. For example, in the western region of Nigeria, in 1962, the Prime Minister then, Tafawa Balewa, he declared a state of emergency in the western region in 1962 due to, according to reports, severe political crisis within the action group, that's the AG, which was one of the topmost political parties then. We also had the likes of the NCNC then. That the internal feud between Chief Obafemi Awolowo and Chief Samuel Oladoke Akintola resulted in violent clashes, legislative chaos, and widespread destruction. The region was said to have been placed under emergency rule, and Dr. Moses Majede Kumi was appointed as the administrator. So are we seeing similarities between these two situations? The first one in 1962 and the most recent, sometime this April, state of emergency being put in a state due to political differences. The first one was between a certain political party and the other one between, probably the same thing, same political parties, but differing opinions. So both similarities. What are we going to say is the similarity between?
The only similarity there is political interest. That's the only similarity, because in the case of River State, there's no internal rancor between the political parties. The PDP is I'm coming. There seems to be does not mean it is. The River State PDP has never come up to say we have war or we have a misunderstanding. No. It's not on any record. It's not on any record that the River State PDP, under which platform Same Fubara emerged, come out to say we have a quagmire. You cannot live in my house. You cannot come and decide for me. Otherwise, you become meddlesome interloper. That's what the law says. Is Mr. President part of PDP? No. Now, this is not coming from PDP. This is a clear case of Godfather, Godson. And if we follow the matter very critically, you will discover that somebody was very happy when the Supreme Court judgment came out and was like, I was again when I here no probably. The ant has finally perched on the floor. And two things were before them. Either to impeach him, and in the process of trying to impeach him, maybe they did not. I didn't say it is. Maybe they did not have enough, whatever they need to impeach him, and then something played out somewhere, and Fubara needed to go by every means humanly possible. Maybe impeachment may not work. Then the second option is a state of emergency. And I'm still hammering. We must define if the president has the capacity to remove democratically elected institutions established by law when he's sworn to defend the Constitution. This is my question. This is what is the quagmire.
The Constitution has really been silent on that. So when the Constitution is silent about certain things,
it doesn't make it right. Neither does it make it right. Wrong.
The point is when the Constitution is silent on certain things, it means that shouldn't happen. It does not give you the permission to actually, act on that. So probably that is what. So let's look at the.
Then we also on this. Let me add this. I was also expecting that judgments from Supreme Court is quasi law. I was expecting the Supreme Court to as well help solve this quagmire by even if they give such situations come, the Supreme Court should make decisions that will assist, protect democratic institutions. Well, I'm expecting that by now there will be plethora of cases before the Supreme Court for interpretation. But it seems we don't have pro bono lawyers, neither do we have a senior advocate of the masses again.
No, we have them, but they are on TikTok and Facebook. But we don't have them.
TikTok and Facebook.
And now let us go to let's get to hear the former president talk about the condemning of the declaration of state of emergency on Rivers State. We'll be back, and the show continues after that.
And I did mention that what is happening in the country, everybody talks about Rivers State on television, and some of these are the issues we discuss. We're talking about building a society where no one is oppressed, as reflected in the top paragraph of our national anthem. As a former president and also from the Niger Delta, when the issue of suspending the governor came up, I think people call on me, oh, President Jonathan, oh, President Obasanjo, you should say something. People expected us to say something about what is happening. And of course, people don't even know that traditionally all over the world, former presidents hardly make statements about what the current presidents are doing because of the tension it could create in the country. In most cases, look at America, look at everywhere. So hardly for former presidents to make, sometimes you see and you believe. And of course, what is happening in Nigeria today regarding the situation in Rivers State is like an Indian proverb that said that if somebody is sleeping, really sleeping, you can easily wake up that person. But if the person is pretending to sleep, you find it difficult to wake up that person. The key actors in Nigeria, from executive to the legislature, luckily Senator Binta and others are here, and the judiciary, they know the correct thing to do. But they are refusing to do it. They are pretending to sleep. And waking such a person is extremely difficult because the person knows the right thing. A clear abuse of offices, clear abuse of power, clear abuse of privileges, cutting across from the three arms of government, from the executive to the parliament to the judiciary. And I always plead with our people that whatever we do affects everybody. And sometimes we do things and we think that it doesn't affect us. I've been a president before, and even after leaving office as a former president, people get to me. Why is that our passport is not valued that much? Why is that Nigerians are not given the kind of treatment we're supposed to receive at the international airports? Sometimes we think it's because of Yahoo boys or 419ers. No, not only them. Yes, they are part of the problem. But whatever happens in a country, decisions that are taken by the executive arm of government, decisions that are taken by the parliament, judicial decisions affect everybody. For example, no businessman can bring his money to invest in a country where the judiciary is compromised, where a government functionary can dictate to judges what judgment they will give. No man brings his money to invest in that economy because they are taking a big risk. So whatever we do affects everybody. And if we must build a nation for our children and our grandchildren, no matter how painful it is, we must strive to do what is right. It may cost us, but we must endeavor and pay the price to insist on doing what is right. Whether you're holding an executive office as a president, a minister, or a governor, or a special advisor, or executive, whether you're holding an office in the parliament, senate, or rep, whether you're a judicial officer at the high courts or appellate courts, we must strive to do what is right. If we want to build a nation that our children will be proud of.
Yeah, we heard it there from the former president talking about Ebele Goodluck Jonathan, talking about the state of emergency declaration in Rivers State. As former president, he has thrown in his own thoughts into what is unfolding in Rivers State, and he said something that really caught my fancy there, that presidency is more like you leave this person with his own decision. You don't really come up in order not to whip sentiment and then hit up the polity, and we understand that. But talking about what's happening in Rivers State, talking about if it's manipulation, talking about the state of emergency, but then people from the other side of the divide, talking about pundits and political analysts, they come up to say that actually Fubara deserves what he is getting, because if you allow somebody to make you a political godson, you should be able to dance to his tune and his dictate. Why complain? Just since the way you were appointed, you didn't go through the normal process of being, you didn't come through the ranks of the party, and then you were brought in, forms bought for you, everything was done for you. You should just surrender and then deliver on the mandates of your political godfather. And others are still talking about political godfatherism. When do we see the end of this in Nigerian politics? Now let me come to you, Ifeanyi. Should Fubara rather be feeling, okay, I've been hoodwinked. Let the Supreme Court or let whosoever come to my rescue, even though we know that he was handpicked into that position?
Well, two wrongs don't make a right. It's only mathematics that minus gives a positive answer. Whether Fubara came into the back door or not, the question is, did he in any way breach any section of the Constitution upon or process, the constitutional process for him to emerge? Well, it's left for the judiciary. Like Mr. President said, former President Goodluck Jonathan, a statesman point of view. Whatever and wherever there is a compromise, whatever nature of that compromise, results to issues. Dibo adage we say ofuaka lotamano ometora. Secondly, the masses should know at every point in time that whatever error that we make today awaits us tomorrow. Whatever error, whatever decision or indecision that we decide to work with or accept has an implication. Whether negative or positive, physics will say for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. That's what's playing out. That's what exactly is playing out. Do Rivers people know that Wike is the one behind Fubara? If they know and they allow it to go, well, here we are. Now, it should be a lesson to everybody. It should be a lesson to everybody. Now, this also points the finger to, are there hands behind the scene manipulating our judiciary? And if there are, this is terrible. It calls for urgent review. The bench should advise themselves and know that if actually they are the last hope of a common man, then somebody somewhere, and Igbo adage say, onwe ebe mmadu na-elue ọkalia igbe egwu a na-eti n'ikwe ma ọ bụ igbe iku a na-akwa nnie. There are levels you get to. You know that whatever decision you take affects both born and unborn generation. For you to ascend to the post of a bencher in the law, I've always shouted, are the operators in the temple of justice, are they holy enough? I've been shouting this. How holy are those who operate in the theater and the temple of justice? How holy are they? Because if we take it to the Bible, we also remember there was a priest who's under his tenure, the children made mess of the altar, and there were implications. If judiciary does not purge itself and remain, because even if in a democratic setting, judiciary exists. If we say today we return back to military rule, there must be judiciary. So judiciary is very vital to the existence of any nation. It's very vital to the existence of any nation. They should know that every action or inaction from them has a ripple effect. Because Actually, if they do their part, like Mr. President, former president said, nobody invests where there is anarchy. Have we ever thought of the implications of what is happening in River State? The oil pipelines are blowing up. Boom, boom, boom. So even the state of emergency did not solve any problem. Right. It only removed the democratic institution and allowed Mr. President, the pulse of River State, to manage. That's what I see. Right. Nothing was solved. Right. Nothing. That the number of soldiers pumped into River State amounts to rubbish. Nothing. Nothingness.
All right. Let's look at reactions. A lot of reactions. Ministers and officials appointed by the presidency, talking about President Bola Tinubu. Now there will be a lot of reactions. Some, okaying that decision by the president. Some saying it was really painful, but it was the best interest. But very recently, the most striking is that of Okpebolo, Sunday Okpebolo, who is the governor of Edo State. He said, in fact, he is blaming the former president of the Federal Republic, talking about His Excellency Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, for the incident. He said that the man criticizing President Tinubu did not take a similar step when he heard that they were going to kidnap Chibok girls in 2014. He further said it is better for a president to be proactive. The single decision taken by President Tinubu saved the economy of Nigeria. He further said what President Tinubu did in River State is a welcome development to ensure peace in Niger Delta. The decision he took to declare a state of emergency in River State is in the best interest of Nigerians.
Can I react to this?
Yeah.
Number one, Okpebolo is in court, so he needs the good face of Mr. President. Then secondly, when Jonathan declared state of emergency, he never removed democratic institutions. They are two different things. Now, the second question, or the bone of contention there is, has the state of emergency stopped the oil pipelines that are blowing up? The answer is no. So Pareto optimality made it very clear. Say if a change is desirable, if it makes majority better off without making the minority worse off. This situation now, did it make minority worse off? Yes. Did it make majority worse off? Yes. Because as we speak, Nigeria is losing money. We have not even met our OPEC quota. Now we are blowing up the pipelines. So how are we going to get the money to run the country? Good decision. Kudos to whoever said it's good. Then the second question is there peace in River State? The answer is no. So the fire you are preventing from, the inferno you are preventing from consuming the house has already consumed the house. Now, even Tom, Dick, and Harry, wise and unwise, are perturbed by simple decision. So upon what premises was this decision taken?
Some may say they do not expect the whole camp to happen immediately. Probably they expect.
But the decision erupted reactions. When a decision erupts reaction, is that a good decision? Because it was immediately after the state of emergency that the pipelines, even in Bahrain, in Bayelsa State, a pipe was blown in Bahrain. So, Mr. Okpebolo, well, I've seen how you are going to take decisions about Edo State. We're looking and we are watching.
At this juncture, we want to say thank you so much. Talking about Ifeanyi Ogunebunam for making yourself available to us this morning on press, on Good Morning Anambra, the discussion segment, talking about River State Embroglio, state of emergency or political manipulation. You obviously have stated your own, and then we are thanking you for making yourself available.
It's a pleasure being here. Please, Nigerians, let us know. Whatever decision we take, even at the most minute area, affects the entire ecosystem, be it political, be it social, be it religious. Whatever decision we take or fail to take, because there are two sides of the coin, has an impact, positive or negative, and in whichever way, there is a ripple effect.
Well, thank you so much.